Hello, and welcome. This is Unedited. Hello, welcome. This is Thursday, 5 o'clock hour. My name is Rob Morales, RCO Network. Good people, better business, discovering the best of you. We're here every Thursday to talk to entrepreneurs and people in the industry who are just self-made, and entrepreneurship and the things that go along with being a CEO and being sometimes the only person in your company that's really working. Oh, okay. But, so we're here, like I said, every Thursday talking to entrepreneurs about their business. So if you guys want to hit the like buttons and see anything you like, what you're doing, we appreciate that. If you're on YouTube right now, hit the subscribe button just because you enjoy watching what we do. Today I have a very special guest. He comes from Florida, I think. I'm pretty sure he does. But he can tell you a little bit more about that in a second. He is the founder and CEO of Patient React. Please welcome Mr. Devon Mortimer. There he is.
Hello.
Hi. What kind of going on there?
Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. So let me get us back on here. We had a little bit of a stumble start today, I think, for the both of us. So we're connecting here. We brought you on the show today to kind of talk a little bit about your business and the things that you got going on over there in Florida land, because you're a little bit far, right?
Yes. Yep, I am in Florida.
How's the weather right now?
It's actually beautiful. It's raining all day, all morning, but then skies opened up. It looks great.
Is that normal for Florida? I mean, I've never lived there, so what part of Florida are you in?
I'm outside of Tampa, so I'm on the Gulf. I'm actually overlooking the Gulf right now. Oh. If you look out the window, so yeah, it's totally normal. When you get a lot of wind out of nowhere, a lot of rain out of nowhere. If it rains, don't worry. 10 minutes later, could be sunny. It's all over the place. You have to get used to wild weather.
It sounds like Arizona, but we just have dirt. So we get a lot of haboobs out here, and that's about as exciting as it gets. You know, the last couple of days we've had a little bit of rain, but not too much, and a little bit of sprinkle. So that's the way it goes out here. But we're not here to talk about the weather, sir. We're here to talk about you. So you are in sales marketing, right? Digital marketing, business consulting specifically. Is that where you started?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. As I started out kind of early, I had a bit of a unique path. When I started working when I was 8, shipping, labeling discs for a retail software company, things like that, things you would trust an 8-year-old to do.
Like
back
CDs?
when it was legal. Huh?
Like CDs?
Like before CDs.
Oh boy.
Or right when they were coming out. But no, yeah, it was wild. And, but that was back when it was legal to work at 8. And I ended up working just all through school as well. Whenever I had breaks, whenever I had anything, I'd be working. And so I grew up in Northern California, moved over to Florida, and at 20 years old, I took over managing a small business, had 3 businesses in there, and they used to have 3 people in this business. They stuck me in there and just kind of let me run it myself. And they cut my marketing budget by 50%, which is never ideal. But I was able, in the first 6 months there, I was able to grow the business by close to 90%. And set 3 sales records in the process. It was really at that point I realized that I'm pretty good at implementing systems and booming companies that are already established. And that was where my passion was. So I went back to schooling, got trained as a business consultant, and spent the next 10 years doing business consulting. And really at one point within there, after 3 or 4 years doing business consulting, I got pretty sick and ended up having some organs were on the brink of failure, and ended up in bed for about 6 months straight, 23 and a half hours a day I was in bed. And so I kind of had to recover from that. But then once I recovered, I ended up getting back in the consulting world and learned even more, learned what to do, how to really expand companies, how to boom them, what works, what doesn't work, how to track stats, how to all sorts of things. Just how do you boost a business fast and keep it growing?
And I think that's the common thread with a lot of entrepreneurs and people who want to start their business. They have some sort of epiphany in their life or some sort of great challenge that they had to overcome, and it's like, if I can overcome that, I can start a business. I can do something else, and I mean, it sounds like a lot of your career has been sales and sales marketing, and has that been kind of the thing that was like, hey, this really makes sense for me?
Yeah, it's something that always worked. I loved consulting because I love to help business owners.
Yeah.
I love sales because I approach it from a little bit of a different perspective than a lot of salespeople I've met. But my whole thing is go in through customer service. I just try to help the person in front of me, really take responsibility for them, find out exactly what they need, which you should do if you're selling, and figure out how I can help them and bend over backwards in doing that. And if you really do that, you truly care about the person in front of you, they're going to buy from you. Why would they not buy from you?
Yeah, and I think I was actually thinking about it before we got on the show today. There's really two types of salespeople: there's short-term sales and then long-term sales. Long-term, sometimes doesn't really allow you to make the money right away, the generate that wealth that everybody really wants and it tries to acquire. Short-term, I think it does. I mean, you put pressure on people; they sell, they buy whatever product you're selling, but sometimes they don't stick around because they felt that unease and that undue pressure to them to commit to something they probably didn't want to buy in the first place. But there's always two tracks and then the ways we approach a sale or approach business, and I do believe that long-term thinking, as you were indicating, is kind of that direction that you've taken, right? Was that from some of that medical stuff that you had, or that realization?
Well, I was always into the sales and the marketing and the how to actually build your business, how to run it, the management, the executive side. But what it caused me to do is I was a really, really hard worker. I would be the one who was there first one in the morning, last one at night. I'd be working 60, 80-hour weeks, week in, week out. And once I got sick, I couldn't do those type of hours anymore. My body wouldn't physically do that. And so, because I've gotten better, I'm just never fully went away. So I had to figure out ways to really streamline what I do and get more done in a shorter amount of time. And so I had to really optimize everything in my life and my schedule in order to do that. And so I think that was the big moment for me, and kind of what led into creating this business, is to be able to roll this out and help other entrepreneurs and other business owners to help them save time and effort and energy so they can spend it where they want to.
Yeah, and I think that's probably the one thing as a business owner or as an entrepreneur that you hold so tightly onto your dream and your idea, it's kind of hard to let it go. And so you find yourself immersed in what you're doing constantly every day, and sometimes at the sacrifice of your family and your kids, other things in your life, your friends and everything else. When everybody's out partying and enjoying life, you're at the office, and I do this still. At the office till like 9 o'clock at night, finishing a project, or making that one last phone call that could make or break next month's sales. So I think that definitely resonates with me.
It does. And last night I was working on projects. I was awake at 2 a.m. I was like, I've got an interview tomorrow. I've got to get some sleep.
What shirt should I wear? We were talking about that too.
Absolutely.
But as we approach our first commercial break, the reason why we invited you here today was about your business and about kind of what we're talking about already, which is separating yourself from your business and at least finding an avenue to do that, so it kind of runs itself in one respect, and where you can kind of separate from that and actually focus in on the more important things, which may be more work, but hopefully in the long run, they're probably family and the other things that miss out on you. So if you guys want to hang in there for about, I'd say about 60 seconds, we're going to get back to Mr. Mortimer about his business and this business he calls Patient React. So hold on 1 second or 1 minute. 1 minute. We'll be back.
I'm a perfectionist that understands that there's no such thing as perfection. I was, as an entrepreneur, sitting alone in an office. I was the owner, the managing partner, but who do I talk to? How do I find out that other people are really in the same boat? Let me create what I wanted, because that's what others are apparently going to want to. When you're doing business, It has to have a purpose. One of those purposes has to be fulfillment. How is what I'm doing affecting people? Here we are, a networking group where everybody wants to get together. It's why we network. We want to learn more. We want to make connections. Hi, my name's Dan Kite, and I'm the CEO of Workuity, and this is our CEO Network.
That was Mr. Dan Kite of Workuity. That is our home away from home here at RCO Network. We office right here in the Phoenix Biltmore area. So if you have any questions or comments or anything relating to finding a workspace for your business, please contact us here at RCO Network. But I am here, Rob Morales, RCO Network, talking to an entrepreneur. His name is Devon Mortimer. He is the founder and CEO of Patient React. Please, we'll cheer you back on, Mr. Sir. He's back. He's back in action here. So we're here talking about, let me get rid of that. So we're here talking about Patient React. So the business that you've developed and put together, you left another business. We met under different circumstances, which we won't necessarily get into. We met under a different premise, maybe. And that morphed into a good relationship, especially with my business partner, Gabby. And I think I don't remember who connected with who, but you said, "Hey, I have this new business I'm implementing, and it's culminated into this whole thing where I don't even know what I'm talking about." Which is where you jump in and talk about Patient React.
Yes, it's definitely. Well, I spent a lot of years in the consulting space. I worked with all sorts of different businesses, business owners, all sorts of different industries, but I really spent a lot of time working in the healthcare space.
Yep.
And I got really, really good at helping healthcare practices, and we're helping dentists, especially chiropractors, things like that. Yep. And I found a problem that they kept running into is we had, I worked at about 4 different consulting companies over the years. And I had one that was leaps and bounds above the others. They just got the best results by far. And they had a specific way of booming companies really quickly. So they would get them in, get a lead in for a cheaper seminar, get them sell a more expensive seminar, get them to come into the office, really knock their socks off, and try to sell a 6-figure seminar, a package and training package, and which I've actually sold. I think my record is fastest I've sold $105,000 package was 3 hours after meeting someone. So I'm proud of that.
That's good. But, he's got a sales nag, I think. Gotta follow this guy.
Yeah, have a background in sales as well. What I found was the biggest thing that people would do is they come in and go, "I need new customers, new clients, new patients, whatever it happens to be, new." And that's not the fastest way to grow. Yes, you need new leads. You need lead generation. You need to market. But if you want to boom your company in the next 30 to 60 days and you're already established, you have clients, you have lists, you have a history, you need to be maximizing what you already have in your pipeline. You've got to capitalize and not miss on opportunities, because I guarantee opportunities are missed. Then you also have to really focus on getting retaining your clients and getting them reactivated. So I call it Patient React, short for patient reactivation.
You put the website on there so I can see that as you're talking.
Yeah, and really, that's what it does. It re-engages patients or customers and increases profits. I was going after the niche of the healthcare industry. It really works for any industry. It's not limited to healthcare. I would just put together different funnels and different systems in order to do it, and in order to hit different markets. So I can really help anybody. What we focus on is lead generation, client retention. We're looking at client management. We're looking at reputation management. And then we help set up automated SMS, voicemail, and email campaigns. And we really tie it in, and we take these systems that were very heavily dependent on your staff and really ran staff into the ground, doing all this outreach and follow-up. And it didn't end up happening. We kept having the systems fall off because our clients weren't really capable of or weren't willing to put in the effort to keep making it happen, right? It was a bit of a struggle for clients. So about 10 years ago, I saw that and I was like, if someone can automate this, it would just help so many businesses. And someone needs to figure out how to do that. 10 years later, the technology caught up, and I actually figured out how to automate all these systems and to take these systems that were honed over 30 years in the consulting space and proven, we're able to boom companies. For instance, I worked with a chiropractor. His highest ever he had ever made in a month was 35,000. And I worked with him for about 2-3 hours in between seminars,
Yeah.
sent him back home. He came back. His next month, he did 59,000. He's like, oh, well, I collected all the money I can collect. I've wrung everybody dry. There's no way it's going to crash again the next month. Nope. Next month, he did 64,000, then 69, then 74. These systems really, really work. And the premise is simple, but if you really putting it into place is more complex. But if you do it, your business just explodes, and you get that customer retention. You get patient. Your clients really love you.
Yep.
It's just amazing. And so that's what I developed this system to handle all those areas.
So if I may take kind of a quasi maybe Robert breakdown of what you guys do. So doctors are busy doing doctor stuff. More important than like somebody in the nursing staff who's doing nursing stuff. So you have different levels of support staff in a doctor's office, dental office, whatever kind of medical practice that you have. But somewhere along the lower line of staff below the doctor, there's people making calls or following up with patients. And logistically, a person may only be able to do or handle a certain number of calls a day. Let's just maybe 20 calls, and then and connect with maybe about 5 or 6 people. And so. Yeah. Given depending on the number of patients, you may have a couple hundred patients, you may have a couple thousand. It's not very efficient to have one person make roughly 20 calls a day because they're doing other stuff and they're following up on appointments. So this system is more of an automated system that uses different technologies, and so the technologies from what I picked up were the SMS texts, the emails. And then the voiceless voicemails, right?
The ringless voicemail. So it doesn't, when you get, you can automate messages, but I personally hate automated messages. Yeah. When you pick up the phone, hello, and they're like, oh, and it's just a voice recording. And I hate that. And those calls that you aren't expecting, you see a number, you're like, oh, that's annoying. Might be spam. We'll send it to voicemail. And then you get the voicemail and it's like, oh, it was spam. And it just makes you really angry.
Is there different types of that way? I mean, because I've gotten phone calls where it's just straight voicemail. I've gotten phone calls where it's like one ring and you're like, oh, I missed a call and I don't recognize the number, but then there's a voicemail later. Or there's like a few rings and then an automated system. Is there different levels to that, or is that just all kind of nuanced depending on the system you're using?
It's probably new. It's nuanced based on the system you're using. What we do is we do it so it bypasses the ring completely. Yeah. Because what happens is nowadays you have about 90%, 89%, if you're going to be more specific, of people don't answer their phone. They won't pick up nowadays. So 9 out of 10 people aren't going to pick up when you call. If you're lucky, you'll get 2 out of 10 that pick up.
Unless you're a realtor. Like I pick up every friggin' call by default. It's hard. But anyway, sorry.
Yeah, there's a few exceptions for sure. But what happens is just no one picks up. So if you get there, you get a lower paid, out someone, it's even an office manager, front desk, whatever it is, receptionist, or just someone hired to do sales and prospect and call, whatever it is. Yeah. These guys usually are making $10, $12 an hour. Usually not hugely qualified, especially in the healthcare space, the people they get on it. And they start making these calls, and very quickly they have issues. They run into, 7, 8, 9, 10 calls in a row. No one picks up. You get frustrated and demoralized. So you don't last very long on it. So what we do is we've got this specific system where we have a specific message that we use that's very different than what others use. We don't do from a sales perspective. We go very customer service to get in the door, get them very interested in the person, customize it to the person that you're talking to, and making it more, instead of, well, it's been 6 months since you've been here, it's been a year, it's time. That doesn't make you want to call back, right? So we have a personalized message. We send it bypasses the ring, so you don't get angry at the fact that you're getting these, another spam call, which I personally do. I don't pick up any calls directly on my cell phone. I screen everything. And so what it does, I find myself, even spammers that call and it goes straight to voicemail, I'm like, I got to listen to it right away. And I don't even let a minute go by. I listen to it right away. And I don't get as angry for some reason with that. When you pick it up, if you do that and then you leave a message, you pick it up and it's like, oh, it's a personalized message for you. All of a sudden it's a lot better.
Yeah, I
right?
will say it is a challenge teaching somebody how to engage with another person, and I when people don't have a natural knack to connect with people, they prefer scripts, and scripts are just so unemotional or so unrelational. And to teach somebody, and I've told, I've actually hired staff before and admins to connect with people. And I say I don't even want you to talk about real estate. I just want you to talk to a person, like you're calling your grandma. What would you say to your grandma? What would you say to your grandpa if you were just calling them to catch up? And that's sometimes a far concept. Like, well, I don't know this person. Why would I talk to them like I knew them? Well, it's not the idea. So you can't really teach how to connect with people, and that's the challenging part of today's world. But we'll get into that in just a minute. We're at our 20-minute mark. Can you believe it, sir? Already been 20 minutes. Wow. That's how quick some of this stuff goes. So I'm here with Devon Mortimer of Patient React. So we're going to be taking our second and final commercial break of the evening. So if you want to hang in there, we're going to learn more about Patient React and some of the automation that happens and some of the things that he can help you with, especially if you're a doctor's office. But I think he's branching out into other industries, which hopefully he'll give some insight on. So hang in there. 1 minute. We'll get back to you guys soon.
As an entrepreneur, I am using my resources that I have available to me through my corporation. But I'm doing that so that I can establish my own personal goals and help other people accomplish theirs. I really believe in unity and that we are all one. And I think it's important for all of us to bridge that gap. Unless you get out of your comfort zone, if you don't experience those outside resources, you never really get to grow and know that we are all really just one. Great American Title is the only company that actually has a community outreach program. Because I am such a proponent of community nonprofit organizations, that's what pushed me off the fence and made me choose this company. I always incorporated networking into my scope of business so that I could meet other like-minded professionals that I could do business with. My name is Maria Brandenburg, and this is our CEO Network. Robert, you can do this.
I want to thank Miss Maria Brandenburg for being one of our loyal sponsors for our CEO Network. She's been with us for a number of years now. So if you have any title work, if you're out there purchasing a home, talk to your real estate agent about connecting with Great American Title. So I'm back. We're back here, the final segment of today's show today with the CEO and founder of Patient React, Mr. Devon Mortimer. One more time. Let's hear some cheers for you, sir. There we go. Everybody loves you. Everybody loves what you're hearing, seeing, all that stuff. Right,
Thank you.
So, the audience has got to calm down. Here we go. So we're back in the last segment of the show. And this is the part I like the most, where we get to kind of relax and talk about just anything, So we left the last segment talking a little bit about teaching and coaching how to connect with people. And I think between my business and what you're trying to do, you're really trying to create a foundation of not just, I guess, a follow-up for whichever system, a doctor's office, whoever. It's follow-up, yes, but it's also reconnecting with a patient or a previous customer in some way on a level that's not so cold. It's not one of those, hello, thank you for calling. Please, if you want to sign up for your show today, we have 4 assignments. There's none of that sales pitchy stuff, and I haven't got to experience what that is. And as we talk more and as we explore more, we're going to get to experience more of that. But automation, right? Automation is what's key in business today.
It is. Yeah. Absolutely. Your time is the most important commodity. And so if you can actually use your time where it's effective, I've spoken to so many business owners, and as I said earlier, my system works for any industry. I was going for a specific niche. I started getting so much interest from other businesses and other industries that I'm going to be broadening out, and I'm not just going to be doing healthcare like I was originally planning on.
Yeah.
So I can literally work with anybody. We customize our systems. We don't use just a cookie cutter for everybody. We want to make sure it works for you. And we really get results.
And you talked about lead generation too. In our previous conversation, it was more of working off of an existing database, and you were implementing systems that did lead generation. And I'm guessing you've found different techniques and different ways to engage people. Basically, a cold call, and that's what I'm assuming you mean by lead generation, right?
Yeah, and I've set it up doing. What happens when you have a ringless voicemail? It's not regulated like texting and email is, where you have to really watch all your P's and Q's, make sure everything's legal. If anything's off, you can be sued. It doesn't have that issue at this point. It might change in the future, but you're able to actually connect you can get cold lists and actually clean that list, and then use this messaging sequence, and you're going to be safe. So as long as you have a really good personal message, I've got a really good script that I base off of, and then we can customize other scripts. And that's what I'm doing. I have a list of over 20,000 people that I'm reaching out to, and that's the system I use to grow my business. I'm doing marketing as well. It's just, I really want to hit it from all fronts, but you want to automate it.
Yeah,
I want to be getting the leads to me.
When's the last time you actually did a cold call?
I don't do cold calls. One of the reasons I made this, I hate cold calls.
I remember sitting there. So right after my divorce, I remember starting my business, and I got an arch dialer. That was the name of the system. It's specifically for real estate. And what you do is you plug it. It provides you all these just lists of numbers and names and numbers. That's all it is. And it's got a little voicemail drop. And I've seen auto dialers that were like they dial 4 numbers at once. This one just dialed one at a time. So I remember just sitting there and calling, hit call. You had a little headset and connect to your computer. You hit call. Oh, no, went to voicemail, dropped the voicemail. It had just inserted it in there. And then anybody that actually answers the phone, hi, my name's Robert Morris. I'm with HomeSmart. I'm over here. They hung up. All right. That's on the next one. Yep. It's such an overwhelming and anxious driven thing to cold call. And it's so nice to kind of have that kind of relief, I guess, with a system like this, that you're not faced with that.
Yeah. You're not. With the system that I've set up, it's extremely comprehensive. So we actually have an auto dialer built in. I don't use it. For most clients, I won't use it. If you love auto dialers, you have a call center, we can set you up the right way for the call center. But for most people, they aren't going to want that. You're going to want to set it up where you have a list. You can set how many calls you want to go out. You can limit it by times. You can do all this stuff, and you're going to start the sequence. So you can have it be a text and an email sent out at the same time or separate times. You can time it. Then you can throw in, if they don't pick up, you can text again a few hours later. Hey, did you see my text? Or you can do a ringless voicemail, go straight to voicemail, and then a few hours later follow up with a text, or whatever you want to do. You can set this whole sequence as long or big or small as you want, and you get those touch points in. The big thing is, what people don't realize is, when you're looking at doing sales, you're looking at 80% of sales are going to occur after 5 or more follow-up calls or touch points.
Yeah.
Right?
I've told my stat 8, but yeah.
5's minimum. It's generally 5 to 8 is kind of the average, but it's really anywhere between 5 and 16, depending which study you're going to look at. And whether you're talking about e-commerce or you're talking about just calling or cold calling, it just really depends. But you're going to look at 63% of the people requesting information for your company today aren't going to buy in for at least 3 months. And 20% will take over 12 months. So how are you nurturing every single lead that comes in for 3 months, 6 months, a year or more before they purchase? I've had some of my biggest cycles have been cycles I've worked on for between 12 and 24 months. And then all of a sudden I put in time, $80,000 sale. Like, whoa, where did that come from? Right. And granted, that was selling big consulting training packages, but if I wasn't helping them and nurturing them, that never would have occurred. And people just don't do it. By far, on average, people just don't do it. So I set up a system that does it for you, and it works where if at any point they respond in the sequence, it takes them out of the sequence, so they don't get spammed. Like there's all the ins and outs are really thought of, and it really is a fantastic system.
And do you think there's a little bit of a loss when you go automated? I mean, I've always been one of the ones that likes that personal touch. When I first started, I did Christmas cards every year, and I remember that first year I'd put my business card in there and said, "Hey, happy holidays," and this would be to family and friends too. And I found that sometimes that kind of diminishes really the gift giving of like a Christmas card per se, that real human connection of like, and so I stopped doing that. I'll put my Yoda thing in there because I got a Yoda thing. So I put my little Yoda stamp in there, and then I try to think of a personal message relating to that person. And when you go automated, you pretty much, it's like a blanket script or a blanket kind of message. Do you feel that in that respect, that's a little bit lost with automation? And this is outside of Patient React, but just in generally speaking, when we go automated, we kind of lose that personal touch, or is that just a way to touch somebody personally?
I look at it as a way to touch someone personally. When I've seen, and the reason I came up with this instead of just using other systems that are out there, is a lot of the systems I've used really do feel impersonal. Yeah. And it just you couldn't really customize it the right way. That's why instead of just having a system that's just the marketing system, I'm bringing in the consulting side of it as well. Because what happens with my system that I do, let's say for healthcare, we would automate the parts of the outreach to get them to call in. And the whole point would be to drive the call in, and then we can spend all the time we want with customer service. We can spend all our time on servicing the people and actually making it personal. So the messages, we just have to make personal enough to get them to reach back to you. That's all you want. And then when they reach to you, then you can take your time with them instead of spending all your time trying to get someone on the phone and then in a rush, and then you don't really get to service that many people because you don't reach that many people. So it's all how it's done.
Yeah, and I genuinely like, I have, I looked at my database because we talked about, partnering up and sharing and experimenting on me, I think a little bit on my database. And so I looked at it, it's roughly 4,000 people. And I would say a good maybe 200 to 300 of them I've had a personal contact with, or I've worked on them. I do officiating. So I put people to, I wed people, and every one of those I've talked to, I've touched. You always want more time with,
you do.
And you want to talk to them and catch up and follow up. But it's just, as an individual, as a single business owner, it's a bit overwhelming to meet up and have coffee with everybody in your circle, especially when it gets to that ginormous number, And for me, I always, again, I like those personal. I like to have, and I pretty much have a 2-hour conversation with everybody I come across. And it's just because I genuinely care about their situation. I'm generally interested in what they're doing, and that's a bit of challenge with automation. But you got to make a business, so it's always that constant balance between your life and your community, and then obviously the people you love, and being connected with them. And I think this is a definite avenue where people can explore and seek automation or seek your application to help them in those other capacities of life.
Yeah, whether they use my system or not, that's not really what worries me as much as that these systems are actually used. What I really want is for business owners to boom their company. I want their companies to be thriving, and I want it to be where it should be. And if that means going with a competitor of mine, I'm fine with that, as long as you're getting service and they're doing a great job. My system's a bit unique. What it does is it takes all these different points. It's not just automating voice and SMS and email. There's so many different pieces that we just don't have time to go over. But you could probably replace about a dozen subscriptions and applications that businesses should be using if they're not already using. It can take place. So it actually will save you money using our system as opposed to others, because you can do away with so much. And it really can build online funnels. It can build voice. You can build websites. You can build all sorts of stuff in this one system from one place. You can have messaging going from your Google My Business page you can have chat bar on your website, and it'll go all go to one place. So you have one hub that you're going to be respond to everything from, and it's really, really user friendly, really easy, and you set it up where your customers are going to feel more taken care of, not less, because they get that instant reaction. For instance, if you are going to get leads from the web, right?
Yeah.
There's a study that was done. If you are 9 times more likely to convert leads that you reach back to within 5 minutes, because people are shopping, and it goes down. And then within 15 minutes, that number goes down. Anything after 15 minutes, it goes down by 89%, 85%, something like that, around 80% to 90%. Your likelihood of actually closing that person, it just almost disappears. So what we do is you can set up all these autoresponders and do it in such a way where you have these sequences behind it. So you get all these touch points to make them feel taken care of. But say you get a lead, how many leads do you get that you reach out to in 5 minutes?
I will say there's some leads that come in through my site, and they'll be like 1, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, I don't know who's up looking at houses at that time of the day, but I can't respond to those in 5 minutes. Or no, I guess I choose not to. I mean, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm either asleep or I'm staring at my phone. I'm like, why is somebody else looking at houses this late in the morning? So I mean, yes, there are systems designed that would supplement that and you would capture that lead. Hopefully, is that
absolutely? Yeah. Oh, for sure. And what it does is, so your lead comes in, we can set it up to, I know what I would do, but I'd have to talk to each business owner and make sure we do it the type of communication they want to go across. But you could have a text go to them right away. Thank you for your interest. We'll get back to you as soon as we can. We're very interested in helping you, whatever you're going to say. There's going to be some sort of script for it. I also, maybe not that late at night, but I like doing the ringless voicemail. Thank you so much for reaching out. One of our agents are going to be with you as soon as they can. Your business means a lot to us. Like, you can actually pour and through voice, because nothing really communicates as well unless you're right in front of the person as a voice or a video. And we even have it where you can throw videos into emails and into sequences and things like that. So it really is. You can automate it and you get that connection where you wouldn't have had that before.
That's really interesting. So we're almost at the end of the show. We have the last 2 minutes here. And there's so much to follow up with and so much to talk about. And you can't really do it in the time frames that we have, but we try our best, Devon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the website up one more time, and it's patientreact.com. If you go click on the website, you can explore a little bit about what Devon has to offer, what Patient React has to offer. Again, patientreact.com. We also have a special. Right. So if you're watching right now, if you're watching right now, let me get Devon out of the way. Let's move you off to the side. If you're watching right now and you've hung out with us to the end of the show, this is your very special discount. So if you sign up, do you want to explain the discount thing here?
Yes. So normally I put a special program that wasn't catered towards the healthcare industry. So if you want the healthcare side of things, you want it fully run for you, that's a different ball game. But I set this up specifically for you guys, and it's a sales price where you're just paying for the software to run it, the monthly fee for the software, and you're actually paying less than what normally is, usually $497 a month, plus a $250 setup fee to get all these sequences up and then run it every month. We're going to give you the first 30 days free, no setup fee, only $297 a month. And then all you have to do is cover like messaging costs. There might be some connectivity costs depending on what systems you want to connect through our system. You might need to use something outside of us, such as Zapier. Might have to have a Zapier account.
I can Vanna White it. Look at contact me.
Exactly. Exactly. And so what I'd love to do is kind of show you guys, get in touch with anybody who's interested in learning more. I'd love to talk to you. I've got my cell phone number there, my personal email. If you guys want to reach out, I love talking to people, whether you're going to buy or not. I don't care. I just like helping people. So reach out to me. I'm here to help.
Yeah, and if there was anything that we can offer, you get the last word. You get the last word of the day, anything you've learned or anything that you want to share with people that you've discovered along this whole journey. I mean, this entrepreneurship, as crazy as it is, if there was something, profound or something you've learned along the way, what would that be?
The biggest thing I'd see is a lot of business owners, they tend to look at what they're spending and worrying about what they're spending on something as opposed to looking what they're going to get back from their investment. And it's a very different way of thinking. And once you look at, sorry, just kick my stand.
And that happens all the time. Happens with us all the time. So.
I move too much. I don't do well sitting still. So my whole thing is I'd love to talk to anybody, figure out how, whether it's with me, working with someone else, really look at what you're going to get back. How many customers would you have to re-sign up to make up $300 a month? My guess is not very many. So yeah, that's what I'd focus on is any investment you make, look at what you're going to get back from what you could potentially get back from it, not just what you're spending. I'll spend $500,000 a year if it makes me $1.5 million a year. All day long.
Absolutely. That's the way I live life. So as we, let me see there it goes. So as we wrap up today's show, I appreciate everyone joining us for today. Rob Morales, our CEO Network. Devon Mortimer from Patient React. So if you have any questions, reach out to Devon. The number was just below there. He gave us a cell phone, which is amazing. You know, how many people actually give their cell phone? I give a pseudo Google number. That's how Devon just cares about you as a person. So we will check you guys out next Thursday. So watch us on Edited every Thursday, 5 o'clock hour. We'll be back. Something like that. I was going for something. I'll catch you guys next week.